Welcome back to GMA. There you see the 2006 wedding between Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes. That was the event that sparked Leah Remini's eventual break from the Church of Scientology, a wrenching process over 7 years. And we have an exclusive new interview with Remini coming right up.
Those new revelations from Leah Remini coming up in just moments.
But we're going to begin with Leah Remini and her very public break with Scientology. ABC's 2020 exclusive Friday night generated enormous interest in Remini's new book, Troublemaker, Surviving Hollywood and Scientology, shooting to the top of the bestseller list. Amy, you sat down with Leah over the weekend, and boy, she did not hold back.
That's right, George. In the 2020 interview watched by millions on Friday night, Leah Remini told ABC's Dan Harris about her 30-year relationship with Scientology, a religion Remini's mother first introduced her and her sister to when they were just children. Remini says after years of slowly questioning Scientology, the beginning of the end happened at that star-studded wedding of fellow Scientology celebrity Tom Cruise to Katie Holmes. Remini says she was upset to find that a number of guests, including, she says, Katie Holmes herself, had filed what Scientologists call knowledge reports, complaining about her behavior before and at the wedding.
Can you read me some key lines?
Sure. It starts with, I was dismayed at the behavior of Leah Remini during the events leading up to our wedding and our wedding. The behavior as a guest, a friend, was very upsetting.
Well, I sat down with Leah Remini on Sunday for her reaction to all of it. The Church of Scientology has provided several statements to ABC News. I'm going to read part of the latest one.
Okay.
The full statement is on our website.
Oh, please go there and see that.
Her repeated,
Thank you for plugging that.
her repeated ethical lapses and callous treatment of others led to an ecclesiastical review which resulted in her being expelled. What do you say to that?
What do I say to that? I mean,
Were you expelled?
Well, I mean, that's like saying I broke up with you, you broke up with me. I mean, that I don't know when that happened. That didn't. I mean, I didn't get the memo that I was expelled. But I mean, if that's what makes them feel good, I was there, like I said, for over 3 decades. I don't know when these lapses occurred, but again, not a shining endorsement of an organization who says they have the answers to mankind. And certainly, I was there seeking help. So I really don't know what else to say about that. I mean, okay.
You write a lot about Tom Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly is his role in the church?
Well, that's unclear, but my experience, and there seemed to be a lot of power there that I couldn't subscribe to as well, was having, I mean, if I'm at dinner, we're going to dinner together, you're not going to write, an internal church report on me that you thought I got a little, tipsy at your dinner party, and then have to deal with that financially within your church and be taken off of a spiritual path, so to speak, to deal with how you're interacting with this particular person. And so the power seemed to be enormous. It was just my experience.
Were you, I mean, I can't even imagine that. Being with someone in a social setting and were you afraid of what you said or didn't say or how you acted? Were you worried about getting written up?
Well, constantly, but that again, there's policy in the church that requires parishioners to write each other up on knowledge reports. So you create an environment where everyone's writing each other up. And again, I was guilty of this. But what it does is it doesn't allow you to have the relationship with the person. You become a person who can't deal with your husband directly, your wife directly, your own child directly, and the church becomes your parent in that way. And then my role is pushed out.
Cruise's ex-wife, Katie Holmes, issued a statement that we saw in Friday's special. And she said, I regret having upset Leah in the past and wish her only the best in the future. You're smiling.
Yes, I'm smiling because it almost makes me want to cry. It makes me emotional because at the time the Katie and this particular crew were writing reports, it caused me a lot of time and pain and my family being reprogrammed. So at the time, I was fighting with her, I guess, for the lack of a better word, within the church. And now I know really what she was going through, because at the time I was thinking of myself and my family and what we were going through, and although painful, I had no idea she was going through probably a lot more. And looking back now and now seeing her and Suri out there in the world, and her being able to be with her daughter and live her life is, you know, I'm touched by it. I'm touched by it because I know now she did what she did, leaving in the way that she did because she had to protect her daughter, which in a way connects us now. And because
part of what you did was to protect your daughter.
Right, because I didn't want my daughter to choose the church ultimately, which is what I felt I would be raising, was that you choose your church, which so many families do in these kind of extremist religions.
I bet there's a lot you like to say to Katie.
Yes, yes, but it's really because we both left that we're able to have this kind of grace towards each other, because we're back to being human.
Really, really powerful and emotional and just so raw.
Yes,
Coming up, we asked her more. I asked her the biggest difference between her life now and her life then, and I asked her whether or not she's still religious. It's very interesting stuff. And by the way, you can read all about it in her book, Troublemaker, Surviving Hollywood and Scientology, which is out tomorrow.
Such a revealing interview. Thank you, Amy.
But first now, we have more with Leah Remini, the star speaking out on why she broke with the Church of Scientology 2 years ago in an exclusive interview on ABC, and then in her new book, Troublemaker, Surviving Hollywood and Scientology, which is out tomorrow. Remini opened up with me about what her life is like now after leaving the church. What's the biggest change where you are now in your life and how you live life now versus then?
Well, I was very judgmental while I was in the organization. I thought we had all the answers. I thought we were doing amazing things for the world, and that's what we were told, that's what we believed, and all Scientologists believe that they're curing man's ills. So now having a different view of life and seeing people for what they really are, not judging them because they might think differently, have a different faith, that I'm not secretly sitting there going, I could help her if she just would come into the organization with me. Sitting talking to you, I'd be secretly thinking, how can I get her in the church?
You had an agenda.
And I was right. I felt that I always had some kind of agenda.
Are you religious now in any way?
Well, I was always religious. I was baptized as a Catholic. I got my daughter baptized as a Catholic. My husband is. And yes, I'm reconnecting with my faith. And it's been a beautiful thing. And I want that for my daughter. I want her to have a place to go where she feels safe and she feels loved, and she's sending that love out to the world.
Is there anything you miss about the church?
I've been there most of my life. My family has dedicated their life. So I look at that time spent and the relationships that we lost, and what we thought we were doing.
What was good about it?
There's a lot of good things about it, although it's an extremist religion or organized religion. It's an all-in or all-out proposition. It helped me in my life, but you can't take some of it and leave the rest. You have to be all in. Once you get over the initial, I don't have any Scientology friends left, your life becomes about being celebratory.
There's a freedom.
Exactly. People are good, and not everybody is against us, and not everybody is trying to hurt you, and it's not all about conspiracies and this, and it's not us against them. And so what I gained from it is amazing, which is why I can't 100% sit here and don't want to sit here and bash it, because it gave me a lot.
What's the takeaway for people? What do you want them to take away from reading your book?
Although I was in this church for most of my life, there was a lot of positive that happened. I really want people to know it's just kind of never too late to start again.
And that's such a theme in her book, that you can at any moment in your life change things. But she was lucky to have the support of her family. Not everyone is as lucky. Every one of her family member left with her husband, her mother, everyone.
And sometimes that doesn't happen when someone breaks from
so
the
they've
church.
got each other now, and she said that's everything.
Yeah, it is.
All right, George, we'll send it over to you.